Hey everybody, welcome back for another Haunthology Time-Lapse Tuesday with audio commentary. This one is for Haunthology Silent Night. It's gonna be crazy long. Yeah, this is probably one of the longer ones that I'm gonna venture to do. I was really not planning on even doing this piece. I've kind of made a roadmap of all the stories that I want to tell. I keep adding more and more as I go because the ideas keep coming. But honestly, just a couple of days before Christmas, I was thinking about it and thinking that I wanted to do a little bonus story for all of you. And I wanted to do something for the holidays. With everything going on, this was the first year in quite a while that I actually felt festive. I can be a bit of a grump. I'd hate to, let that get out there, but it's true. Yeah, I'm not always really into the holidays. In comics, one of the weird things about making these things is that, we tend to have deadlines, and those deadlines don't care if you're sick or you're tired or you need weekends or you don't spend time with your kids or if it's a holiday. And a lot of times during this, myself or my friends in this industry are messaging back and forth about the terrible deadlines that we have and the crazy way that things are going. So, honestly, this was one of the first years where I really felt like, I don't know, just being in the Christmas spirit. And because of that, I did what I do, and I decided I was going to tell a little horror story about it. This one's silly. This one's kind of fun. One of the things that I enjoy, but I also kind of make fun of myself about, is that I appear in some of these stories, quite a few of them, in fact. I'm fine with that. I think it's kind of fun, and why not be a little bit, self-referential, and sometimes tell something a little goofy. You know, Part of the great thing about these stories has really been telling telling stories that deal with my headspace. And in this moment, right now, like I said, I was in the mood to be a bit festive. Like I tend to do, I decided that I was going to tell. I knew what the story was going to be. I decided I was going to tell this story about me hearing Santa Claus, and because I'm me, it has to be a little spooky in the end, and I'll kind of get more into that in a little bit. But I really felt like I wanted to I don't know, just kind of do something fun. The trick of that, again, me being me, is that these stories get pretty involved. I I don't know. I love to draw. I love telling the stories, and I want them to feel to have a feel, I guess. I don't know. I want it to be something that I can truly be proud of. And one of the things about these pages, I really felt like they needed to be my best work, some of my best work. And so, I don't shy away from the little details. And sometimes that bites me in the ass. I end up trying to draw everything, every little, you know, DVD on the shelf you can see there, every little thing. But I love it, and I love the process of it. I part of me said, "Hey, I'm gonna." I think it was December 21st, maybe, that I kind of decided I was going to do this, and sort of just jumped in and started working on it, started writing it, and then drawing it, thinking on some level that maybe by Christmas Day I would have it done, and that did not particularly happen. Part of that, taking it back to deadlines and this industry and this season, is that I wanted to spend time with my family. I wanted to spend time with my kids. I didn't want to work until 5 in the morning, only to have my youngest son drag me out of bed at 6 in the morning when it came time to open the presents. That's not really what I wanted to do. So I took it easy, and by easy, I mean it basically still means me on some level working, 7 days a week. But that's okay. That's okay. I still do the work, but it was not me, trying to fully draw a page a day during all of this. You know, I'm okay with that though. That's kind of part of the process. So this story, one of the things that I really wanted to do was take and you know have it be sort of mundane, very much me in the studio. I like what you see there, the sweater and the scarf and the beanie. I'm pretty much wearing exactly that right now as I'm doing this commentary. This is what I wear. This is how how I work. In in this story, it's nearly 2 a.m. I think, and it's not quite that late right now, but yeah, I'm up late. I'm working. I I love the freedom that comes with creating, late at night. And when my kids were young, I used to think a lot about Christmas, and the great thing about being up late on Christmas is I can be up and I can set everything out and make the grand production, make it really cool, leave the cookies and milk out, and then eat the cookies and milk. Or sometimes I even do cookies and whiskey, and then that's extra great. The only thing better than cookies and whiskey maybe is donuts and whiskey, but gotta watch the waistline occasionally. So, um, yeah. So when I was drawing this project, this particular story, I knew that it had to be. I knew I wanted to do a silent story. It makes me think of Hush Job and Silent Interlude, those GI Joe stories. I mean, there's been tons and tons of silent stories. We did a silent issue of The Realm even, but I always love silent stories. I love silent stories. I love in this I chose to use go ahead and use sound effects. I love sound effects. I love onomatopoeia. I love the chance to try to convey something just with a sound effect. Um, it. I could have added, a couple of huhs or knowing me curse words to this, but I don't know. I wanted to try to tell everything just with the images, and even making as you can see in these. I hand drew the sound effects and did all of that. I love that process. I love how it looks. So many of my favorite old pages, the the lettering was hand drawn on there, and I loved the way it turned out. It's such a fantastic feel, a great look, and I love having the boards with the lettering right on there. Um, so we're on to page 2 now, and you know, I kind of love the goofiness of this, like the because I'm me. There's I think that there's always the horror in there, but I also like this feeling like I'm almost in a Scooby Doo mystery. Like the faces that I'm making in this are kind of extra goofy and extreme. I'm not a very grim guy most of the time. Grumpy at best, but hardly grim. So a lot of these are very much my faces, and and ones that I would pull in this situation. One of the things that I still love about these, especially these like wide shots looking down on me inking these panels, is that you really get to see the way I jump around. And so much of it's really based on a lot on first of all, just what pen I'm using at the time. Sometimes I want to use a very particular pen for as long as possible. I'll go in and I'll say, okay, I'm going to use the point, you know, 0.3 micron. But I don't know why I do what I do. I watch a lot of people doing these inking tutorials and things like that, pulling out a brush and doing everything, and it's like it looks so perfect and methodical, and like they're going through and they've got a definite plan. I make the lines where it makes sense to make the lines in the moment, and I as I watch me ink this close up of my goofy face, I really love the way that I do it, but I don't understand why I choose the areas that I do. I go from the crow quill, and I jump all the way back to using a micron pen again. And one of the things that I do think is really kind of weird is that as I try to get used to filming so much stuff, especially the time lapses, it does force me to kind of think differently about, I think I've said it before, but like when I draw, I spin my paper almost constantly. What I'm doing here, having it such a set locked in way, forces me to kind of think differently as I'm going, and I think that maybe part of the jumping around is actually a product of that. I'm watching me, as I'm going along inking bricks and stuff like that here. I don't know that that's normally the way I would even hold my paper or at times pen. I think I would spin the page a lot more. Uh, one of the weird things that nobody ever tells you about, as you're working on these things, is how physically difficult inking, drawing for long hours is. It's not good for us really to be sitting hunched over things all the time, but yet we do for 6, 8, 14 hours a day, whatever it is. And I have noticed that as I've been doing the time lapses, I sit weird. It's been a little hard on my back and on my neck, and not my favorite thing, but what we do to share things with you guys, right? One of the things that, yeah, see, here's the great thing. As I interrupt myself, here's a great thing. Um, I spin the page, so now we're going to sit here and look at it. Part of what you're seeing whenever I spin the page like this is you hear people talk about pushing lines or pulling lines when it comes to inking. I tend to pull my lines. I pull the pen towards me. It's a stabilization technique. Not one that I even really think about too much as I'm doing it, but it's easier for me to keep a steady hand. You know, you're seeing me pop in with a ruler occasionally, but not that often. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's some people talk about it like it's a real point of pride to be able to pull a straight line or whatever. I don't care. Like, do what you can do the way you can do it. This is me just inking how I ink, but I like the challenge of trying to do straight lines. I like the organic feel of something that isn't ruled. I think it looks better. I think it looks more lived in and real. A lot of times as I'm penciling things, I use the since I'm penciling digitally now, I use the line tool, which is basically you click it at one point and then you pull it and it makes a straight line for you. It's really really nice, especially when you're snapping to grids. It helps a lot with architecture, any kind of geometry that you're doing. It helps get those extra details snapped in the way that they should. And I like that. But I don't want that same feeling when I'm inking. I want it to feel natural. I want it to feel organic and real and kind of nice. And, so that's what I'm doing here. Um, I'm trying to see, as I'm inking some of these, especially like the little bricks and stuff like that, I'm bouncing around a little bit between pens. Uh, one of the nice things to be able to do is, obviously, if you're using microns, you can you can use different sizes of pens to build different thickness of line, which gives you that nice depth. It looks real, or real, I don't know, 3D, I guess. I think I'm actually making some lines that are solid, and then I'm making some that'll need to be filled in later, which is fine, But it's just kind of a lot of fun to do. I just realized that while I'm drawing this, while I'm inking this, I'm wearing my special Christmas sweater. Yeah, so again, I was in such a great place this year. I was in such a Christmas spirit that I got a Christmas sweater. Never mind that my Christmas sweater was not a silly Santa or reindeer or any of that. It was actually a Cthulhu Christmas sweater, but still, I don't know. I felt it was that's as festive as I get, folks. That's the reality of it. Is I liked it. Also, I love the sweater, and it's actually really cozy. It's very comfortable, very warm, and you may just see photos of me wearing it forever because it defies categorization. It doesn't need to be just a Christmas thing. That's fine. Let's see. So as this jumps, one of the things here is we're actually seeing different days. Even some of this is probably like I think now as I've changed shirt sleeves, you're seeing me in on a different day. Obviously, things have been filled in. That's a great thing. I couldn't really do any of this without the help of my studio mate and assistant Amber. I talked a lot about Amber during her Hallowtines, Kickstarter campaign. I should be getting those anytime soon. Maybe if you ordered some, you should too. But I love the stuff that she does as an artist herself, and I really, like I said, couldn't do what I do without her. As I've taken on more work and more different types of work, writing, drawing, various things, even this, so much of that is made possible by having someone to help. Mostly, I kind of wonder if sometimes the greatest thing, the reality of it is that I'm daft. I need someone there to help me be accountable. What you're seeing here as the page changes is me doing again the line work, but she goes in and fills in all these black areas, and that allows me anytime that I'm working, a few nights a week, she is in studio with me, and she's filling, in these areas while I'm inking. So it's a very continuous process. I think for as slow as I've gotten, if I was doing all this on my own, I would first of all I just go insane, or make my kids do it maybe, which is maybe a terrible slave driver of a father. But it really helps a lot to be able to kind of have the extra set of hands to make everything flow faster. I'm not gonna lie, ink fills are important. I hate them. I truly hate them. There's almost a meditative thing that can happen as I go if I get into it, but I just hate it. So it's like, I used to have friends that talked about inking, and they talked about that they liked penciling, but they hated inking because inking was really doing something twice. And I don't really think that that's the case for for inking, I feel like that it's the case for fills for me. It's like I've penciled it, I've inked it, and if I'm having to fill it too, that's torture. That's kind of the worst thing. And so you know, no thanks. So yeah, anyway, that's I am grateful to have the help with this, and I love the way it turns out. Um, I'm almost finished with page 2 here. I'm kind of one of the things that they always talk about in like audio commentaries from movies is how if you're not careful, you get caught up in watching it, and I'm trying to not do that as I'm going. I'm kind of I don't go back and watch these things very often, and it's kind of fun to watch myself again. Just that process where I'm looking at the weird choices I'm making and how I'm inking, and going in and adding more detail as I go, and trying to sort of fill things out and have them work. So yeah, I guess as we move on now to page 3, um, you know, one of the great things um, about this, I don't know, the concept was I thought a lot about Santa, and we've seen a lot of different takes on Santa Claus, and of course there's Krampus, which myself and my 11-year-old Owen, especially love Krampus. One of his favorite movies is that new Adam Scott take, yeah, Adam Scott take on Krampus. It was a lot of fun, a low budget from the guy that did Trick or Treat, and I don't know, we loved that movie. It was like one of he was pretty young when he saw it, but it was a horror movie that he really enjoyed the feel of, and we actually watch it a couple times a year even now. He just wants to see it. But I thought about Santa Claus and the nature of Santa Claus, and also about Krampus, and I love the duality of those two characters. I love that Santa um, is the good, the giver, and Krampus is this dark thing, the version that kind of makes you pay for your sins. I don't know, sins. I don't like that word, but you're being a bad kid throughout the year. How about that? Uh, but one of the things that I thought about with this was my Santa Claus, and what this actually feels like and what I wanted for it, and I knew that my character, I knew that I heard something inside. I heard something, sleigh bells. I heard something on the roof, and I was going in to investigate. And I wanted, because I'm me and because I like horror stuff, I wanted to tell something that was creepy, that was, not just. I mean, I do think that actually, regardless of what it is, if you walked into your house right now or on Christmas, and even if you saw the Coca-Cola Santa, I think it would be terrifying. I actually think it would be horrifying. I think that there is something incredibly creepy about Santa Claus, and I think that I don't know, I wanted to examine that. I thought a lot about the nature of Santa Claus and what I wanted to tell with that. I like the idea that Santa Claus is both a good thing, a giver, a giver of gifts, but what if Santa was actually completely a monster too? Like what if Santa Claus was closer to the way we think of Krampus as far as how he looks and how he moves and the things that he does? Maybe just not really prone, maybe he's the one that gives the gifts too. Maybe he takes you if you're extra bad, if you've been a horrible person that's done terrible things at the beginning of 2021. Um, Not that I'm talking about anything like that, but you know, what if he has a true dual nature, but he is a monster? And I kind of liked that. I liked, we've seen all these variations on Santa, but I kind of wonder if you get the Santa that you earn, and even if maybe he's obviously bringing a gift to my house, to my home, um, but he's bringing a gift and still looking like some kind of hellish nightmare of a creature with tongues of flame around his head and slightly clawed hands. I kind of I don't know. I liked that idea. I had a lot of fun with the face and these strange glowing eyes. These creepy elements. I'm happy with the way that it came together. Uh, as this is going, I'm looking at like the little details of the cape and everything like that. And you know this is why this stuff takes so long, folks. This is I get lost in the details sometimes, and I think about that a lot. There's been a lot of conversation with other comics creators about like the amount of time that people are taking looking at these pages. Um, I've had a couple of you very specifically say that like you end up spending a lot of extra time poring over the pages. I know that a couple people mentioned, especially like the sabbatical at the Elms, that they ended up, for being a relatively short story, they ended up spending a lot of time just examining the pages, and that kind of means the world to me. But I think about with the average comic book, I think people are looking at these things in 10-minute segments, maybe, and I catch myself doing it too. That's not really, I'm not chastising anybody or trying to say that like you're wrong for reading comics how you do. I just think that we look at American comics differently than a lot of things. Like I think about French comics, a lot of European comics, and the way that these volumes are just so gorgeous and you pour over them. We don't really have the time in American comics to devote like that much time to the detail, to the true world building. And I think that that's something that I really wanted to do here. I obsessed over the idea of having these, these little details here. I love drawing the tree and all the packages with their various wrapping, papers underneath there. And I really loved, especially the Krampusy wrapping paper, the that I don't know if there's something really good in there or something bad in there or something. Again, it's a monstrous looking Santa Claus, but maybe he looks at it and thinks, maybe he thinks that that's a really great gift. And I I don't know. I love the details. I love the elements, and I love the excuse because this is very much my own thing. I'm gonna put that extra time and effort into it, even if I intend to actually get it to you on Christmas Day and end up getting it to you, right around the New Year. That's okay. I mean, I think you'll forgive me, right? Um, because I love you, and because I love the story and I love what I'm doing. So you know, I think it's fine in the end. The details are king, and I'm not, and I do want to be clear. I'm not saying that I think that, because I think that there's sometimes creatives make it sound like they're not going to try as hard. There was a real kind of a conversation that annoyed the hell out of me recently with specifically another creator, and they kind of said that like they almost didn't feel that those those projects, those pages, deserved quite as much attention. The mainstream stuff. You just did it because it was a job and you banged it out. And I don't know. We I still think that you have to try. And I think that sometimes, depending, like if you're told, hey, you have to draw this in 3 weeks, obviously you can only do so much in that 3 weeks. You can't physically work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week in those 3 weeks to try to get the detail. I don't even believe that actually those details would look as good. I don't think that we would get as much out of them, or give you as much out of them. I just don't think that that's a reality there. I don't know. I One of the things, there's so many things about this Haunthology project, is really, it's just me, pure me. It's me caring about these things and trying to give you the best thing that I can make each and every single time. I think some of the stories are better than others, but ultimately the difference is I care about each one. I'm trying to tell something. I'm trying to have fun, and make something special. And I think more often than not, it's a good product. And this one I feel really good about. It's strange, and fits the mold. Taking it back to a lot of where we were in the beginning. There was so much fear and unknown, worry. I mean, look, I'm still worried. There's still unknown. I'm still scared. We're dealing, today, right, right, literally right now, we're dealing with things that scare the hell out of me when it comes to our world and our country, to this virus, to the choices that people are making and not making, and all of that. We all, we're just trying to make it make sense. God, I got to cut in and just talk about those feet. They're so creepy. I added them, and I love the idea of Santa Claus being barefoot. That was just kind of fantastic to me. Um, you know, it's like I said, it's a weird time and a weird world, and in that way, I truly do feel like this story does fit, because if you just look at everything around us and feel the fear and the pain and the loneliness, it's maybe too much to bear for me. Being able to try to have a little bit of special this holiday season kind of made it just a tiny bit better, just a tiny bit more doable, I guess. I'm still telling a spooky story, and it's still very much me, but it's me trying to be okay, and I hope that you guys can be okay. All of you can be okay. So yeah, I've rambled on now forever. Yeah, for the entire length of this thing, and I am actually really happy with it. I love the way this story came out. Thanks so much for all the responses to it. I'm so glad that the work with all of my crazy effects and splatter and line work really paid off, and it set well with all of you. I'm incredibly proud of my Santa's design. I would love to tell a whole story about a world where that Santa lives and exists, and what that existence means. You know, maybe I'll get to do that. I do love the idea that these stories can be larger stories if they want to be, if they need to be somewhere down the road. Yeah, so I appreciate all of you. Thanks so much. It's a new year. It is a new year with new things. We get to experience whatever the hell 2021 has to offer. It's been crazy so far, but you know what? We have each other. We have friendships. We have people that make us a little more sane most of the time. Um, I hope that each of you finds something in this new year that you can latch onto that can be a good thing in your world. I appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity to make these stories and tell these stories, and to have this audience, to have you out there. Um, Please take care. Have a safe, wonderful new year. And I'll see you again very soon with a whole new story. And I'll even do some commentary on that. It's probably not going to be as long as this one because this one's ridiculous. But you know, we'll get some new stuff. Take care. Stay safe. Cheers.